What's up, guys? It's Charles. I'm about to go interview Peter Voogd, who is an entrepreneur, speaker. He's also the founder of Game Changers Academy. I'm going to talk to him about his daily habits, some of his ways to increase his network, and how he went from broke to 6- and 7-figure income. Come on, let's go. All right, you guys, I'm super excited today because I have a new friend, Peter Voogd, and he is an author, speaker, and you've been featured on Forbes, Huffington Post, Times, Entrepreneur.com, you name it, you've been everywhere. So I'm so excited to bring you to my audience and just talk a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get started? It's been really great to witness your kind of journey. Like, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So I started at a younger age. I always thought something was wrong with me because I was so rambunctious and I didn't fit well in classrooms. I was so hyper.
Yeah.
And when I was between 14 and 15, I started selling things on eBay. And I don't remember how to this day I got into it, but I was working construction with my dad. So this is my first taste of entrepreneurship. And my friend was working with my dad as well. And I hate hard labor. Even back then I hated it. And I just did not want to do hard labor. So yeah. My friend kept working with my dad consistently, and I wanted to make some money. So I started, we were shoveling sand down from the lake to the top of our place. And I remember checking my eBay that day, and I made $91 on eBay. And he had made $63 that whole day working 8 hours. So I'm 15, and I'm like, wait, I just made $90 like in 5 minutes putting it online. And he made 60, he's sweating, he's tired, he worked all day. I'm like, I don't ever want to get a normal job. So that was my first taste. People have to realize I got paid to think differently and to take a risk, but that was when it first started. So I had an eBay business. I was buying and selling shoes, different shirts. I had some friends sell them for me. And that was when I first started entrepreneurship, 14 or 15 years old. And of course, it evolves from there. I stopped doing that when I was 18. And because everybody around me was like, get a normal job, finally I'm like, I gave in. I'm like, I'll get a normal job. And it was the worst 2.5 months of my life. So.
Two months.
About 2 months.
Was that the last job you've had?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what can you give advice to our audience, anyone who's trying to start on their own? Like, how did you weed out all that distraction and noise of you need to live a 9-to-5 job and all the routine, all the stuff that we hear all the time?
I think sometimes you have to try it. Because I knew I didn't want a job, but because so many people were telling me, I'm like, I guess I'll try it out. Even like people around me that were close to me, that cared about me, were like, that's how everyone works their way up. And I was like, okay. Tried it, and I was working so hard. I even got a letter written about me because my customer service, I was at valeting cars. There was like a new casino that opened up. So yes, you can be 18 and valet cars. And I was working extremely hard and my paycheck was the same. So for people, it's just, you have to experience someone else telling you what you're worth, telling you when to leave, when to show up. And if you enjoy that and you like the security, entrepreneurship maybe isn't for everybody, but you have to pay attention. If you love the flexibility, if you love the lifestyle that you see with you living and me living, and you like to create your own value based on your skills and what you want, then you might think about entrepreneurship. So how to get started is to figure out who you are, figure out what you want, and what people inspire you. Few people are inspired by people that just work a 9-to-5 to do the same thing over and over again. So I wasn't inspired by that. And for me, I just remember the feeling of sitting in the little booth when I was 18 and adding up, okay, $7.05 an hour times 40 hours a week times 4 weeks out of the month. And I'm like, I sat there, I get chills thinking about it. I sat there and I'm like, no matter what I do, no matter how many customers I help, no matter how many books I read, how good I get at this, I'm making the same paycheck. How the hell is that motivating? So for me, I just was like, I can't do this.
It's like that quote, if you see someone, and it's like, if you're working for your boss or something, and if you don't like what your boss is at,
100%.
Like, then stop working for them.
Because that's what you're going to next.
Yeah,
for sure. So just get clear.
Yeah, so next question, one book that changed your life, if you had to pick just one. I know it's hard because we read a lot.
Yeah, The Millionaire Fast Lane, MJ DeMarco, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down. Because he dispelled the myth I had when I was younger that you have to work 30, 40 years to get rich. You have to work in this 9-to-5 job or work your way up the ladder. And he's like, no, you don't. In the new economy, you can actually get rich pretty quickly the right way, not in a sleazy way, the right way based on your values. And he gave me the kind of the roadmap. So that was a game changer.
You always talk about this, your values. And I love that because there are some entrepreneurs, like we can make easy money, but be a sleazeball, right? But how do you...
And sacrificing your values.
Yes. So how do you remain the integrity of your values, all of that?
I think it's who you're around. I was very, very lucky because my parents and my mom is very high integrity, and she taught me at a very young age to do what's right. So I think you have to be somewhat blessed with people that do the right thing around you. Yep. A lot of people around me were doing the right thing, and pay attention to your emotions and feelings when you're around people doing the wrong thing. If you're like, hey, this is fine, and you don't care, I don't know. But for me, just certain things felt wrong. So how to define your values is figuring out what's most important to you and writing them down based on your past, based on your experiences. So I wrote down one of my biggest values was family, and then flexibility, and financial freedom, legacy, adventure. Now these change over time. So for me, when I was struggling and broke and discouraged, I made one of my values financial freedom because it's no fun to not have money.
Yeah.
And you can't be messing with your family and hanging out and doing nothing all day long if you don't have money.
Yeah.
So my value was money first, and that's when I made my first 6 figures. But I realized that I like peace of mind. I like flexibility more than money. You couldn't pay me $100 million to do someone tells me to do or have a job that they tell me exactly what I'm worth.
I saw a video that you talked about taking another speaking engagement if you were able to speak to the kids, and because it was aligned with your value.
I've turned down many speaking
and
engagements.
I love that because just because they're paying you more, but you feel like you're actually contributing and it's benefiting your values and integrity.
100%. So I would tell people to write down their top 5 values, and everything that comes across their inbox, their desk, or their phone, match it against your values. So for me, one of my biggest now is peace of mind and flexibility.
Peace of mind is mine too.
100%.
Everyone's like, how do you define success? Peace of mind, being able to go to sleep, knowing that I treated everyone well,
100%.
that I made my money bring value to people, and I feel good.
And the amazing thing is when you know you have the right intentions, hate or other people's opinions don't affect you. So when you know yourself and you know you have the good intentions,
self-awareness.
They could say, dude, you're a crook. You're like, that's fine. That's nice. It doesn't even affect your mindset.
No,
because you know you're the right person.
Yes, because you know you're in a line. Your self-awareness. We'll talk about that. How is that important for anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur?
There's nothing more important. So let me give you an example. I used to be obsessed with reading and studying, and I listened to every podcast, every audio, every video, every seminar, and I was super overwhelmed. So society's advice to me when I was newer was 2 things that are just ass backwards nowadays. One is just work extremely hard and that's it. I'm like, yeah, it's not 1987 anymore though. Yeah. So I would work 50 hours a week in my direct sales company that I had years ago when I was first starting out. I'd work 50 hours. I go to society, I go to everyone around me in my atmosphere, work harder. I go to 60 hours. Then I went to 80 hours. Nothing was changing. So how can it be just work hard if nothing is changing when I'm working 10 times harder in my business? So I think working hard might work for the 9-to-5, but in entrepreneurship, it's not about working harder or smarter. It's about working right on the right activities. Yeah. Efficiency, leveraging technology, building the right team, delegating your weaknesses. So that's the first thing they told me. Second is when I got into success, so read every book, study every course. So I did that and I'm instantly overwhelmed. So there's this grass is greener mentality with millennials these days that if you just read and study, you're going to crush it and be successful. But here's the reality. Instead of executing what they've learned, they trick themselves and think they need to study more. They keep on learning and learning, and it makes them feel good to keep learning, but there's no execution, so they stay broke. Yeah. So for me, this last year, my point was I've studied the least amount. I've read 1 book. I've had 1 mentor. I've listened to 1 podcast. I've taken in the least amount of information I ever have in my life, but I've had the best year I've ever had. Because I've asked myself the tough questions. I know myself now. I know my strengths, my weaknesses, what my unique ability is, who to hire, who to not hire, what exactly I want, what's my ideal outcome, how to spark my own fire, what's my ritual when I'm out of the zone. I know these things now. So I would spend more time on yourself figuring out who you are, what makes you tick, what sparks you. If you're getting into a business or a career, ask yourself, is this going to keep me fascinated and engaged the next 1 to 3 to 5 years? And just spend all the time self-aware of who you are. That's more important than self-development and personal development. And obviously with you, you know who you are now. Yeah. When you know who you are, decisions become a lot easier and opinions become irrelevant. Yeah. So that's why it's important. I mean, I could give tips, but it's just people know who they are, but they don't listen to their own voice and they don't have new original thoughts because they have all these recycled thoughts from society.
Yep, and it's all the distractions, like getting rid of the
so
people.
much noise.
So going back to network, people around you, you talked a little bit about your family, but how important is network and mentorship? So if you don't have the people around you, how do you find people?
Yeah. That was the number one thing that helped me, is taking my network to the next level. My circle of influence was the biggest game changer that ever changed my life.
And I listened to something that you did an interview recently. You talked about when you approach people that you want to be in your network, maybe they're at a higher level, don't go in for the ask right away, because that's a mistake that everyone does. Is like, can you do this for me? Can you do this?
I'll show you my phone right now on Instagram. There's 99 plus messages. And 99% of them are just asking me for my time, asking me questions versus giving value. And there's always one every once in a while that's like, hey, I read your book. I bought 5 copies for my friends. I left you a review, and they've actually taken some action. I'm going to talk to them more than I'm talking to anyone else that just asked me for things. So here's my point. So the number one thing successful people value, you tell me if it's right with you, is time, their time. Because they can spend that with their family, with their loved ones. And what's the number one thing people ask successful people for?
Is their time.
That doesn't seem right. If that's the number one thing they value and you're asking them for that without giving anything, you're going to get shut down. So for me, first, my circle of influence had to be elevated because everyone around me was okay with mediocrity. When I was stressed out and broke when I was 22, I had a couple friends that were also broke, and they were like, we're supposed to be broke. We're 22. It's okay. And I'm like, this feeling I have of having no choices, of being frustrated, there's no way I should be feeling this way. I don't care if I'm 16 or 28. So I had to elevate my circle of influence. So in my company, I made a list of the 5 people who were at a level of success that I wanted to be at. And I reached out to them. And I said, I'd love to get, obviously, anything you can do. And I told them I studied them. And this is different than personal growth, where it was in my company. It's a little different.
Got it.
But they were all making between $400,000 to $600,000.
Okay.
And I was broke. People always ask, how'd you get from broke to 6 figures in 6 months? Well, all I talked to was people that were making $500,000. How could I not get to 6 figures if everyone I'm talking to and every single thing they're telling me to do, I'm doing, and they're at 500,000? Of course I'm going to get to 6 figures. So I made a list, Charles. I never forget this. I was on my bed, and I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with no box springs, a mattress, and I had no money. And it's like, when you have no money, and I went against my family to say I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So now I'm stressed. I feel like I let all them down, and I'm not proving myself. So I'm not in a good state of mind. And I'm like, I got to figure something out. And I heard this quote that I'll never forget. It's in my book. If you want to be a millionaire, talk to billionaires. You'll get there quicker. And I'm like, damn, I'm not talking to anyone successful. So I made a list of my top 5 maintenance friends, people that just drag me down, don't make me feel exceptional, maybe hold me back, and don't help me think bigger. I made a list. Like maybe people I knew from a long time ago, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. It's a friend I've had since middle school, right?
You had to just let it go,
So 5 people that are maintenance friends that were not helping me, that were okay with mediocrity. Then I made a list of the 5 growth friends that I wanted to have as friends, mentors I've had, people that are crushing it. And all I did, not joking, was I lowered, from that moment on, I lowered the time I spent with my maintenance friends, and I increased the time I spent and talked to these people. And I started feeling my standards, my confidence, my vision, my clarity go way up.
You think differently. When you're around these people, they're high-powered, they act differently, people treat them differently, and they have boundaries, right?
So, higher standards. So that's what it was for me, is I made a list, and I started connecting with higher level people, because life is too short to be around toxic people that don't make you feel exceptional. If we had 5 lives, it's like maybe one of your lives hang out with some toxic people, but it's like you have one life. Life is way too short to tolerate people that don't have your best interest, that don't make you think bigger. So I got rid of toxic people that just were okay with settling. And these days in society, it's sad that it's okay to settle because everyone else does it. So when someone settles in society, they look around and they go, everyone else settled, it's fine.
Yeah,
and there's not many mentors.
People.
So that's,
they feel comfortable.
We could talk about this all day, but that's what it was, is circle of influence.
Okay, so some lifestyle hacks. Morning routine. Right before the interview, we did some 20 push-ups. I know before you go on stage, you probably have a routine. What is something to instantly raise your energy? And what do you do do you have any non-negotiables?
Yep. One is, first figure out what you want, not just what you have to do. If you only focus on what you have to do for the day and you have a busy day, you get stressed out. You're like, I got to do this. Focus on what you want out of it.
I want to feel great.
Exactly. Focus on that, not just all these action steps. So for me, I have it's called the prize fighter routine, and this is non-negotiable for me, to where, and a lot of people talk about there's 10 steps to morning routines, 32 steps, 9. I don't believe in that. I'm very outcome focused. So there's only 2 purposes of a morning routine. That's it. So whatever you have to do as an entrepreneur or a startup CEO or a human being to get yourself to do these two things, you'll be set. One is get yourself in the right state of mind to where you actually have courage, you're confident, and you're ready to crush the day. So whatever you have to do to get yourself in a good state of mind, whether it's working out, whether it's journaling,
some people dance, some people read stuff,
workouts, music, what's it called? Gratitude, journaling, whatever. Get yourself in the right state of mind, number one. Number two is think through your day and perfect your perfect day in your head, and then write down your day, toughest things first, profit-producing things first.
Yes.
And then I ask myself 3 questions. What am I committed to making happen today no matter what? What am I excited about? What am I grateful for? Every single morning, what am I excited about? Because it gets me excited.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have things to look forward to, so then they get in this complacency state. Then when you're complacent, you don't have the right mindset, you're not resourceful, you're frustrated, you make excuses, you validate. So what am I grateful for? That makes me feel appreciative because it's impossible to be frustrated when you're grateful.
Yep.
So I can be in a bad mood in the morning. I start writing down things I'm grateful for. I'm like, damn, I'm an idiot for being in a bad mood.
Yep.
Like, think about these kids that have nothing, and it's like,
yep.
man. And then what am I? Obviously, you can't just do those 2 things because results is the name of the game. Then I'm like, okay, what am I? If nothing else went right, if I was a little bit lazy today, what is the things I have to commit to no matter what? And I write those down. Then I'm giving away my goods here. I don't talk about this a lot. And then, so after I get in the right state of mind, I figure out what my highest leverage, highest activity is, depending on what stage I'm at in my business. Right now, I don't do as many profit-producing things because I'm more focused on legacy things, my mixtapes, my next book, creating courses, things like that, my academy.
Yep.
When I was not making 6 and 7 figures, I would be focused on profit-producing. So if you don't have your bank account stacked, you don't have properties, you don't have money coming in, at least at the 6-figure mark, you shouldn't be doing legacy stuff like that until you have some profit producing.
Yep.
So now it's different than it was, but I would pick my hardest task and I would look at it and I would, for 60 to 90 minutes, I would eliminate all distractions. I would ruthlessly make sure I'm focused. I put my phone away and then I sell myself on this activity. Because if you're not sold on it, you're not going to fully do it and you procrastinate. Most things people take on, they're not sold on. That's why they're always distracted. The way to kill procrastination is sell yourself on it. So I sell myself 60 to 90 minutes. Then I take like a 10-minute transition trigger break. I go shoot hoops. I run around the block.
It's like Pomodoro, right? Is that the method, the Pomodoro?
Similar.
Yeah. Okay.
Super focused.
You time yourself. You take breaks.
Yep. 100%. And I've done this for years.
Yep.
And you're more productive than most people in a week.
Yep.
So after a 15-minute break, I go back and do this again for 60, 90 minutes. And by like 10 or 11 o'clock, it doesn't matter if you want to work or not. You have so much endorphin and momentum built up. You want to continue. Yep. And if you do the toughest tasks first, it weighs on you if you don't do that and you procrastinate till the tough thing at the end of the day, then the whole day you're not as effective because you're worrying about that last thing you have to do. So I always do my toughest tasks first. That's a huge key. So that's my morning routine. That's the first thing I do. And then energy and health-wise, when you have clarity, when you look at your goals and when you know exactly why you want to accomplish your goals and you have a list and it's clear exactly where you're going and why, then you have more energy. I watch what I eat very carefully. I drink a ton of water. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. Not that that's the end-all, be-all. But I just feel better. I have more energy. And I make sure that I get rid of anyone that drains my energy. So I ask myself, is this going to contribute to my freedom or is this going to contaminate my freedom? So anytime something comes across my desk throughout the day, it's like, is this going to contribute, contaminate? Is this going to contribute to my peace of mind or is this going to contaminate my peace of mind? Yeah, but this will contaminate it, but it's 6-figure deal. I don't care. I don't want to take my peace of mind away. Doing this is exciting for me. It's building the legacy. It adds my peace of mind because I'm hanging out with you. It's fun. There's no pressure. It's a dope building. So that's just what I do in the morning and throughout the day, and that's how I stay energized as well. Little hacks, like I've never once had to wait at a restaurant for food because I always call ahead and order it. So when I get there, it's ready. So every restaurant in my town outside of San Diego, I call and I'm like, hey, it's Peter. All right. And then the food's ready. Because there's no extra time because I'd rather spend the extra time with my wife. Or eventually with my kids, they're going to have to pay me like $500,000 to leave my house when I have kids. I'm not joking, right? That's how serious I'm about family. But that's another hack. It's just being selective with your time and don't let time suckers take your time that just want to waste your time.
So I'm really, really excited because you have the Game Changers Academy. Tell our audience about that. Why do they want to get involved? I mean, you have so many values on your website. There's that one sheeter that you can print out to write all that stuff. Tell me more.
So when I was coming up, I really wanted to get to the next level and increase my network as intelligent and strategically as I could. I joined every mastermind, every course, every like platform was available, and I was like the most driven in all of them, and there wasn't a lot of high-level people, and I couldn't find a program that gave me the tactics that I needed to where it was simplified and I could succeed, so I had to create my own. So in 2012, we created the Academy, where it's, you know how most entrepreneurs struggle with inconsistent income, they don't have full clarity, they don't have that confidence or the network to go to that next level. The Academy kind of helps them, it gives them the network instantly, gives them the guidance and the roadmap on how to level up and become a game changer in their industry. And then we have guest speakers, we have Tim Ferriss coming up, Elon Musk coming up.
What?
Yeah, we have a lot. We've had Ariana Huffington, Gary Vee, Eric Thomas, Grant Cardone, Ryan Blair. We've had Marie Forleo. Almost everyone you could think of. We've had guest speakers, and they kind of mentor the entrepreneurs. There's 4 levels. It's a little bit tougher to get into, but they're welcome to apply at GameChangersMovement.com. But it's my #1 focus. I just love it because I love creating game changers, and you know this as well as I do. There's a lot of talkers out there that maybe say they're serious, but they're not really. So we try to kind of weed out the talkers and find the real, true entrepreneurs that want to get to the next level. Not just results-wise, but be a world-class human being. Finances, peace of mind, influence, success, wealth, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they could learn more at GameChangersMovement.com, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we'll leave links below. One thing, this is deep, but what is your why, right? Because I think at the core of every entrepreneur is the why, right? What wakes you up on the days that you don't feel your greatest? What pushes you forward?
Yeah, it's not about me anymore. It was about me, and it's one thing succeeding yourself. That's fulfilling. But there's a whole different wave of frequency and motivation when you help somebody else. So my why is helping young entrepreneurs figure out their true worth and help them know themselves so they can live a world-class lifestyle. And my biggest why this last couple of years has been there's nothing that gets to me more than seeing people when they're 70 or 80 that have regret. Like they're looking in their eyes and they know they could have done more, been more, they could have accomplished more. They let other people take their joy. They feared people. They care what others thought of them more than they value themselves. So if I can just help people not have any regrets, that's my biggest why. And I want to do it on my terms where I don't sacrifice my values, where I do it while building an amazing family. And the biggest why for me is helping people be world-class human beings. Because I know people that are worth 100 million, Charles, that their kids don't know who they are. So it's like, are you successful? Maybe you are in some people's eyes, not in my eyes. Yep. I know best-selling authors that have sold millions of books, but they forgot about their health. Now they're struggling health-wise. Yep. I know YouTube influencers that have 3, 4, 5 million subscribers, but they have 10 different girls. They're out till 4 in the morning. That might be someone's lifestyle, but that's not world-class to me. So there's no right or wrong way to live. My why is to help people be world-class human beings while living life on their terms and not sacrificing their values as well. So
inner peace. Yeah, going back to inner peace.
That's what it is.
Love it. Thank you, Peter. That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say one more thing to people if they're watching, because I know you have some ambitious followers.
Yes.
The biggest thing you can tell yourself is right now matters. The #1, I think, mistake I see with entrepreneurs is they always have this someday mentality. Like, someday I'll be successful. Someday I'll go all in. Someday I'll invest in myself. And they spend the first half of their life saying they're too young. Then they spend the second half saying, oh, I'm too old. Yeah. Now matters. So right after this interview, like, write down your goals. What's your next step to take to get to the next level? Because now matters more than ever. And if you tell yourself right now matters, you'll be ahead of most people and you'll start to build momentum and crush it. So
I love it. And we'll leave links to Peter's website so you can actually download that one-sheeter and write out all your goals. Post it on places where you can see it every single day. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. See you guys soon.
Appreciate you.